Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and or nonprofits.
If I start coughing, I may have to get me some water. My allergies.
We can go get you some water. It's right over there by the door.
I heard something.
Good morning! Coming to you live from Acts Media Group headquarters here in the beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your host, Matt and Jay. We got Marcia in the house with Denise in the house today.
Hello.
Hello.
Morning, Denise.
Morning.
And Marcia.
Hello. Had to sneak and get some water.
Good.
Well, I'll just say it wasn't sneaking. Because everybody saw you do it.
Oh.
Talking recovery today here on the show. Troy is in the background in the peanut gallery. Here now. That sounds familiar there, doesn't it, Marcia?
Yes.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
My name's Marcia.
Denise.
And her name is Denise. Denise is our guest today, along with Marcia. Well, you're a guest as well. We're divided up in family units. There you go, Jay.
I think I'm right.
Look, he's
I'm
very-
special today.
he's very picky about whether or not you can see like the entire body on there. But yeah, we're glad to have you guys with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So Denise is a tenant of yours at. She's in the program that you have at Clean Sweep Ministries.
Correct. She's a resident there. She's
Yeah.
been with us for a little bit. Going
8
on
months.
8 months.
8 months. Well, I saw you in July on
Yep.
July 4th. Where we had a really intense moment with the
my
Holy Spirit
gosh,
that day, just out of
yes.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I was playing guitar and we were singing and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I just stopped singing and just started playing real quietly. And I look over and everybody's having a good prayer session over there. So
Yes.
I love how God works. So real quick before we get going, I want to make sure everybody knows that this show is proudly sponsored by Ozark Mountain Craft Mall in Branson, Missouri. That is at 1940 Missouri 76. That's Country Music Boulevard. If you don't know, their number is 417-320-1221. She made the shirt that I'm wearing. She makes mugs. She makes all kinds of stuff. Plus, there's over 30 vendors in this place, and there's all kinds of stuff. People plying their crafts. You can go in and watch people. I don't know if they have wood carving or what they have in there, but I need to go check it out. But Ozark Mountain Craft Mall, proud sponsor of the Morning Drive. All
I
right.
need to speak to them about getting candles in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. That's
You
what
could.
they do.
You definitely. That's what they do. You go in there. You rent a.
Say I'm a vendor.
Yeah.
It's a vendor. You go in there, kind of like the flea market that was here in town,
Yeah.
somewhere like downtown area.
Uh-huh.
It's like that, but nicer.
I have to
Yeah.
check that out.
Because that one was super nice. Like, you walk out of there, you're wondering if you had fleas. Anyways, and that's not. I'm not talking about Ozark Mountain Craft Mall. It's very clean in there, and it's a very good place. You can even buy some of Steve Mickey Mac's honey
Now you got me
sticks while
itching.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to bug you.
You're itching? Oh,
Well-
the thought of fleas.
Right. No, not really.
Flea bites take forever to get to
Yeah.
heal up.
I handled somebody's money or ID yesterday at work, and it had poison ivy or something on it.
Oh,
'Cause
my goodness.
Oh,
I could
no.
tell it started to itch, and then I itch it, and it started to feel like a rash was coming up, and it got here, and then I got here, and it got here. I sort of realized those are all the places I touch myself.
Yeah.
Behind the ear and stuff, and
This-
the glasses, and So I said, I got into something. So I washed up real good and washed up the register and all the little drawers, and and it stopped. It's like, what?
Steamy Joe's is no longer a sponsor. They
No.
only sponsored a month worth. Scott says, "Hello, my sweet wife,
Hello.
and everyone, and Denise."
Hi, Scott.
I think she's actually included in the everyone word right there. But, personalize the hello. I like that. So how to get this started? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Denise.
Okay, my name's Denise, and I started out in an alcoholic home. I started drinking when I was 15 and smoking marijuana a little bit, and I did this every weekend. And my family all drinks. We used to have parties on the weekends, but I would drink off and on, a few months, and then I'd quit for a little bit, and then I'd go back into drinking every day for months.
Binge drinking.
Yeah, binge drinking. Then, when I was 27, I had a friend that her husband got her started doing meth, and I went to her house one night, and she was like, la la la, my husband is giving me an 8-ball, and I really want you to try it. Nothing will happen to you. It'll be great. So she talks me into doing it with her. Well, I was raised up to be scared of drugs. So I was scared. And instead of letting me stay till it wore off, she made me go home. And I was scared I was going to die the whole time I was coming down. Well, then after that, we continued to do meth off and on, like we might do it for
Till it got better.
2 or 3 days, and then we'd leave it alone for a couple months, and then we'd do it a week or whatever. But then the day came when I ran into what drug dealers would think would be a good deal. I don't think it was a good deal, but I was offered major amounts to get rid of. And so since I had all that stuff on hand, I was doing it every day. And then one day, I got convinced the helicopters were coming for me. So I quit. Well, when I quit, because of doing it for so long every day, my mind played tricks on me for like 8 months. I thought cars and trucks didn't go anywhere. They just looked like they did. I thought the power lines controlled day and night. I thought everybody was an imposter for the DEA. I wouldn't spend money because I thought it was counterfeit. I wouldn't cash my paycheck. I'd make somebody else cash it. And that went on for 8 months. It took a lot of psychiatric meds to get me back to thinking clear. And you would think that that would have deterred me from doing meth anymore after that happened, but no.
Now something's missing though. What did you get from it that got you doing it to that point anyway? Just the availability, or was the high? So, just having something that doesn't do anything for you is just going to sit there,
right?
But so there was something it was doing for you.
Well, it was letting me stay up later to where I could get more stuff done. It was also for the party. We'd hang out in my girlfriend's bedroom and just do dope all night and play dress up and go to the bars and just run around like idiots thinking that nobody's ever going to catch us. But that's not true, I can tell you, because, well, I should back up a little bit. There was an incident that happened that caused me to lose my kids during this time I was doing meth. I had a fenced-in yard, and I had my littlest boy out there. He was about 8 months old or so, and he got out of the gate while I was in using the bathroom, and the neighbors come up the street, and he's out in the street, so they put him back in the fence. Well, I come back outside. He's still in the fence. I didn't even know anything happened.
But now he knows how to get out.
But it got turned into family services, and they were going to take my kids, but my mom offered to be guardian of them, so she got them. But I lost them. I lost my fiance. I lost my house. I lost my cars. I pawned my jewelry. I ended up with nothing left. It was time to get clean. But I didn't. I proceeded to steal, write hot checks, forge checks. This is just to supply my habit. And I went to prison in 2014 for a year and a half till May of 2016. Now, I didn't like prison that well, But you must think I must like it, 'cause when I got out, I started the same old thing again. And there's no rhyme or reason to why. Just if it appears on the scene where I'm at and somebody offers it to me, I'm all in. I'm ready, set, go. But then I got off of it for a while, and then I went back to doing it, and I got arrested in November of 2019. Well, while I was in jail, Marcia from Clean Sweep Ministries came to court and talked to the judge and got me released to her program, which I've been in her program 8 months now, doing good. I have 9 months clean time, and I don't think I really would have made it without coming to her program, because like with me, it's easier to quit if you have other people around you that are also quitting. I think it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Because by yourself, you know, you got all these friends around that they all want to keep you doing it because they're doing it. They don't want you to do any better than they're doing. But I love God from delivering me from meth and a certain death. I traded my meth for a Bible, and I've become closer to God. And that's about me.
It makes me emotional.
Right.
And just for the simple fact that God used me and positioned me and my husband to
Intervene like he did for you.
Yes, and give us the opportunity to provide this housing, you know, and pulled me out of my own addiction, you know, and we both have been through things, and just God is just refined and just polishing and doing different things. And I've heard, you know, Denise is just one of many of the ladies in our program. And
I think we have 7 now, don't we?
yes, and
Okay.
we've had within the last 3 weekends, we've had women transition out into their own homes. Kayla went yesterday; she'll be getting a certificate. Last Sunday, Kimberly transitioned out. She's getting her own place and getting her kids back. She got yesterday. She got to spend the part of the day at the river with her children that were unsupervised.
Wow.
This is just a part of what God's doing. And he's on the move right now. You know, we take the good with the bad, because he does, you know. And, you know, it's just hearing her story and, you know, where he's taken her and allowing us to be a part of that journey is just, it makes me emotional, because I am watching God just transform.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes when he transforms us and positions us, sometimes we get in a different mindset or different, you know, we have him, we think upon him, but you know, sometimes can get in our own place, and he just uses those God moments, and Denise is one of those God moments.
Yeah.
And just to be able to be here, because there could be somebody that hears her story this morning and how open she is about this and about using meth and, you know, going to prison, that we might share something. We may share this. We may share Acts Media this morning. Someone may on Facebook. And, you know, and God is utilizing these tools, social media, you know, just for those things. And it can be used for good. There's so many people that struggle with social media, but look at today, you know. It's just amazing what the aspects of how God is changing lives.
I think that I know for me, part of it was attaching the truth and the reality of what I was doing to the positive. So I got so much positive out of my alcohol and drug use that it was doing something for me. But when I was thinking about doing it, I never really attached it the way I should have to the devastation that it was causing. So I only credited it with the positive things I got from it. Instead of crediting the drug use and the alcohol use and the abuses that I had in my life, instead of accrediting the whole truth, the whole picture to it, there was a separation there. And until I was able to, through a program, really attach that to the desire for it. So when I desire alcohol or drugs, it is not absent of my desire for the destruction. So when I think I want that because it'll give me this, I think immediately and attached to that same thought, in the same thought process, in the same thought, in the same second, if I want this for this, I have to want it for this as well, which is the disaster. And I think, do I really want that moment of high for that lifetime of disaster? And the fact is, that moment of high that I will chase the rest of my life by using it will be a lifetime of disaster. And it is not worth it. The balance is way off.
Well, and it can also relate, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an actual drug. For me, it was sex,
Yeah.
the lust.
Which is, in a
And-
way, a drug. 'Cause
Yes,
of what it does
and
chemically in
it
your
still
body.
causes, there is no good that comes out of that. And then, lost my kids too. I signed them over, my son, and thank God that he pulled me out of that so I could raise my daughter.
Yeah.
But I was still in the midst of, but I'm going to I think Denise wants to.
Well, since you said something about disaster, I've got something here. I wrote it when I was in prison in 2014. It's called The Price I'll Have to Pay. When I do drugs, I live in the not real world. The not real world is where I have no worries. I don't need to eat or sleep, and I don't have emotions. I'm cold-hearted. I forget about my family and friends. I think I have everything under control, where in reality I don't have anything under control. I go through men like they're going out of style. The way I live when I'm on drugs, I think, is normal. Spending every waking hour looking for my next fix. I spend countless hours trying to convince everyone that I'm not crazy. Someone is following us, watching my every move. Paranoia has set in. And it just gets worse the longer I stay up. Then finally the day comes when I run out of dope. Now I have no choice but to come down. Crash, boom, bang, the fun is over. If it was fun to begin with. When the smoke clears, I've lost my significant other, my children, my family, my friends, and my home. I've lost my self-respect. It only took a few months to lose all these things, but it'll take me a lifetime to get it back. So before I take that first hit, I ask myself, is it worth the price I'll have to pay?
That's powerful.
I see addicts now who are losing one child after the other as they come, and still living in addiction.
Yeah. It
And
always
think it's going to be okay while they're pregnant.
it
but
always
then-
always amazes me that how many pregnant women there are that think that the drugs don't affect their newborn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they have to convince themselves of it
Yeah.
I
because they
mean,
can't
The
accept
drug
it.
has convinced them of it.
my firstborn, his mom, she quit doing everything. She quit drinking, smoking. I mean, she quit caffeine. She had to. She stopped everything.
My kid's mom was that way too.
And I quit smoking around her. There was at that moment I stopped smoking in the house and stuff like that. But with my youngest son, who's probably watching right now, but I've talked to him about it. He's 15. He understands that I made bad decisions in my life, especially in regards to him, because I was addicted to meth and alcohol and the party lifestyle. I didn't go to prison for it. I've been to jail a few times for DWIs, but instead of staying home and raising my son, we'd ship him off to Kay and John. Well, we're his guardians now, because we didn't want to put him. I didn't want to put him in any kind of danger, because a lot of people in that lifestyle are not the safest to be around. And then eventually, he's gone all the time. Now he lives there. I mean, I get to see him now. Praise God, since.
Yes.
But before, I mean, I wasn't able to see him for years.
Yeah.
Years. And his biological mother, she died of a septic blood infection caused from using dirty needles. You know, so and he understands. He knows why she died. He knows what happened, and I hope that keeps him from trying the stuff out later on in life. But we are very proud of you, Denise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is the first year is always the hardest.
Yeah, I think the first 30 days is the
Oh, yeah.
hardest.
Well, life is hard.
I thought
you
of
go-
something else. When I was in my addiction, it really affects the way that you think about what other people say to you. I spent 2 years living on the street in Dallas, Houston, traveling around in semi trucks all over the United States because my mom had told me that I could never come home and see my kids again. So I thought, in my state of mind, that was what she meant. I could never really come there again. So I just disappeared out in La La Land and stayed high every day. And she went to Texas and put up missing posters for me. And one time this truck driver got stopped and they ran my name, and they called her and told her I was alive but that I wasn't doing anything wrong, so they couldn't hold me.
Right.
And eventually I went to jail in Houston for 9 months, and when I got out I went home.
Yeah, and that's where the healing starts, really.
Yep.
I went home too, whenever I decided to quit my party, and I went home and got rid of every friend I had. Now you guys will be hearing another story today. After this show, we've got the Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster and myself, Pastor Matt, and there's another story of recovery there as well. And you
Okay.
can't do it without God.
That's
No,
right.
you can't.
You can.
Because God influences you and helps you to withstand the trials of other people trying to suck you back in.
Yes.
Yeah, and he also helps you with the feeling of hopelessness that because I mean we occupy most of our day
Mm-hmm.
with either chasing the drug down or preparing the drug,
Yep.
and that gave me just as much anticipation and jitters as doing the drug itself was getting
Yeah.
ready for it. And I mean, so to say that we are proud of you is kind of an understatement, really.
Well, I appreciate everybody's support because it makes it easier for me.
Yeah.
And one of
You
the
kn-
goals is Clean Sweep. We really, really encourage that, and God is still just instilling different things and change because it's about Him and building that relationship. Because we have ladies that come in that's never touched a Bible, never accepted Him.
I
as-
was amazed. I was in New Beginnings for last year for a little bit,
Yeah.
and we were watching a show that was Bible stories, like Nicodemus, when Jesus talked to Nicodemus. And I just couldn't believe that I was sitting in a room and I was the only one that knew these Bible stories. Nobody else knew them.
Oh, and that's sad.
It was to me because I lived in the thought process that I just assumed everybody knew the Bible
Yeah.
or had been to church, and that was not the case.
Yeah, and we're saying we had one of our new girls that came in just rededicated her heart. She's just as well as Denise Restoration. Denise got to go to her son's
Wedding shower.
wedding shower that's
Wow.
getting married, and she's doing overnights with her mother. Will be doing that, going down there. So she goes once a month, spends the night with her mom. So those are all just amazing things.
Yeah, and every
Mine
every
yours?
time I go home, I always say my enablers to my addiction live across the street from my mom.
Oh.
And one of them went to prison and just recently got out, and she has quit. So that makes it a little easier, but it still worries me sometimes when I go home that they're that close to where I'm going to be staying.
Yeah. I tell people have a plan, and
Of action,
and when you're in a place where you're at risk, immediately make the decision before it's too late to go somewhere else, to say, even if it's the other side of the house, if it's the other side of the room, it's the other side of the yard, get away from there.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan for a way to get out of there even further if you need to. Somebody you can call to
Right.
take you to a place you know where you're going to be influenced by the right people.
Say, I have given up all my friends, and there's several of them that are trying to quit meth, but I have my skepticism because for the last year and a half, this same girl that lives across from my mom, she has been quitting supposedly, but she hasn't quit till now. And I think that's only because she figured out that she was going to have to go to prison for a lot of years if she didn't stop.
Yeah.
I'm just glad she stopped.
And we're able to help Denise become a disciple of Christ, so that this gives her the opportunity to be able to go and minister
To give it back.
to give it back
Yeah.
to this girl. And of course, you know, she's in the process of taking the Freedom in Christ class, and that's a 16-week discipleship class. And they have 2 more classes, and then she'll be going through the steps to freedom. And once she completes that, she'll get a certificate for completing a 16-week discipleship class.
Now,
That's part of our program.
I still don't get involved. Like, so if I'm trying to influence somebody who's using actively, I won't go to their home or their place or invite
Yes.
them to a place where I'm partying or something like that. If I am involved with influencing them in any way, it's in a structured way where
Right.
it's inside of a program where there's more than just myself. So for you to be, I think it would be important, not always for everybody, but it's important that if you're going to minister to somebody, that you have somebody ministering to you at the same time. So Jesus sent people out 2 by 2 for a reason.
Yes.
And the 2 isn't you and the addict. The 2 is 2 of you and the addict. Does that make sense?
Scott commented, God is good, because I got a phone call this morning from the man at the Ready Mix plant in Republic.
Are you serious?
That's what he
Oh
said.
my gosh,
Good.
I'm gonna cry.
Um,
Give me
Stacy,
goosebumps.
If you only know what Scott and I have been professing. This is just God.
how long are the ladies in your program? Steve Schultz wants to know.
Anything, we're a 1-year program, but anything over 6 months is considered long term. Now, we have had girls transition out at 4 months, and there's certain situations. So, and we'll use Kimberly as an example. So Kimberly came to us, and she transitioned out two weekends ago, or last weekend. She came to us as needing sobriety, sober living for addiction. But in her case, she was also a part of family services because her kids are in custody with her grandmother. So when you have 2 situations, I need the long-term.
compounded.
I need the long-term recovery, but family services is not always on that same page, because I've been through this with several women that have had to transition out early just so they can establish that visitation and overnights and get their kids out of state custody or guardianship and back in a home with them. So sometimes they have to work at a different pace than women that their kids are grown and not in custody. So those are just small examples. So we offered her a certificate of, she was with us 5 months.
Yeah, see, family services wanted her to get her own house
yes.
by a certain time.
Yeah, they put a deadline,
Yeah.
gave her, or because reunification is the goal with moms, whether kids are in state custody, meaning get them they have supervised visitations. They go from supervised visitations to unsupervised visitations. That goes from to overnights. And then, but we have had overnights in our home with children. We encourage that, but it takes some time to get established. We always say, if it set a goal for 6 months, you know, if you know, but we work where they're at, and we still do aftercare. We provide mentors. Our church is very active and part of our program. Denise Cheryl Summit, she is Denise's
Cheryl.
mentor. So everybody we continue that aftercare with them, making sure they're doing okay. We just had Kayla that transitioned out, but we would love to be able to see them stay the 6 months or longer, you know, just like Denise, she's been with us 8 months. She's just got a few months left, you know, for her 1 year.
I think I'm still in a program.
Yeah,
7
you
years
really,
sober.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah.
really,
My life is a program, really.
Yeah.
that 1 year teaches you structure to adjust. You know, the women are to Denise is an
Oh,
exception
it's
of
outside.
that.
Sorry.
She gets up pretty early, but we would like to see them out of bed and up, their beds
Yeah.
made, and starting their day.
Structure.
I get
Structure.
up at 1:30 or 2 o'clock every morning.
Wow.
And so with that structure, you can create a new behavior within 30 days. You can change the mindset within 30 days and create a new structure for yourself. So that is why we have a curfew at 7 o'clock the first 30 days. Then the curfew will go up from that. That gives them that little bit of extra. But it's set for family. It's set for life, because in life we get up, we function during the day. And there is a lot of functioning addicts. I was one. I could get up, go to
I
work,
was too.
and
So in a
still-
way, like she was saying, it helped her to stay up longer and get more done. So really, what you're doing is retraining them to manage their time and their sleep schedule and all that, so that they can
Yes.
get what they need to get done.
Yes.
And then to recognize sometimes you're being unreasonable or wanting something that may not be healthy. You know, that you have to give yourself more time to accomplish something or whatever. It helps you to
Yeah.
understand those limitations and not try to falsely, to alter.
It's really hard for me because I'm bipolar, and so I have real high highs and real low lows. When I'm on the high side, I do all kinds of risky behavior, and that's when I get to thinking, oh, well, I can do this and just do it today, and I can forget about it tomorrow. No, that's not how
without
it works.
destroying your life.
Because it's a constant. Once you start, you don't ever want it to end, because you know you're going to feel bad when you quit doing it. And so you just keep trying to do it. So for me, I can't do it at all.
And
Me too.
we have a lot of what they would call a dual diagnosis. You got your mental illness and the addiction. And a lot of times, you know, we're seeing more of that in the community. We're seeing a lot of more, we have a lot of situations where the mental is misdiagnosed and put underneath the rug, and they compensate with the meth to calm the mind down, to help with different things. So we're seeing a lot more of that. And our goal too is we do allow certain medications in our home, so that we help them manage that. If they need to go 2 weeks and go into Cox or the Marion Center, we
For
save their
detox.
bed, or for just getting the stability of the mental, getting the right meds put, and that is
Yeah.
something Denise
The
has dealt
effect of
with.
it.
Yeah, getting the right meds is hard to do. I had to change psychiatrists to get on the meds I'm on right now, just to be able to sleep 4 hours, because I don't sleep.
Right.
And hopefully this next week they'll give me either an increase in what I'm already taking, or try something else, because I still think I need 8 hours sleep, even though I feel good after 4 or 5 hours.
And you know, sometimes you could wonder too, and we've talked about this, and I visited with a doctor yesterday. You know, the drug use itself keeps you that high, keeps you going. And as Denise is learning, she's learning new skills. She's learning to shut her mind down. She's learning to let the medicine take effect and help her. And because your life, your sleep patterns are off. You're just in
Yeah.
all areas of your life. So we know that the effect of the meth, the heroin, the drinking, whether it's sex, 'cause you party all night with that. It affects the brain. The brain, it's a balance.
Demands it.
Yes, and so it is the battle of the mind. It is a lot of getting the detox of the brain.
Yeah.
I remember
I-
feeling out of control. Yeah.
I never thought that there was physical withdrawals really from meth. It's all a mental thing. Because when I quit, I mean, I didn't have jitters or I didn't have cravings. I didn't have any, like my bones didn't hurt or my muscles didn't hurt. So I think it was more, I was addicted to it mentally, just thinking that I needed it. My body didn't really need it. So,
I think that's the worst kind. That's the obsessive addiction.
oh, I'm obsessive compulsive with it because I guarantee you I'm going to spend every dollar you've got and I've got and then try to figure out how to get some more to get some more.
So those are all things, and that's just her being honest and the reality. So, as a program, we look at all those things, and the structure. We don't have a lot of inpatient stuff, meaning we encourage the outpatient, borough. But one of the things that we are looking as, and
Is that who you work through?
borough, a PFH, and Denise
Yeah,
is
I
associated
go to
with.
Preferred Family Health. I'll graduate from there in 2 months.
She goes twice a week for her drug treatment and counseling.
I was going 4 days a week, 5 hours a day. But I've graduated up to where I just go 5 hours a week
I've
now.
been through those. I've been through a bunch
I
of those.
graduated from Preferred Family Health 2 years ago. So they haven't changed anything too much since I went through it before.
And so how are you serving God now? What's your service to God and your connection to God now?
Well, I volunteer at our church to help with sacking groceries, or like Tuesday night I helped Miss Brandy get her lesson ready for the kids this week. I've told them I would volunteer in the clothing department to help them sort clothes and just anything that they need me to do. Sometimes we clean the church.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sorry, I forgot to put a banner up underneath you guys.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
It's
I'm
not
just
too
want to
late.
make sure. No, it's not too late. I'm just want to make sure I spelled Denise's name right.
Denise.
Yep, that's what it said.
Did my alarm just go off and off and off until it ended and I didn't notice?
I didn't hear an alarm.
No.
I'm listening to the
That was a
the-
lot
the
of noise
noise.
going on out there. They're working on the building,
Yes, it's awful
Yeah.
close. We can
which is
definitely hear
good,
that,
and
yes.
it needs it. Yeah,
I know.
and this is a great building, an iconic building.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're hoping to maybe add some financial relationship things to our program because we see that is very important. So we're faith-based. We're looking to maybe someone that has a financial degree background that would be willing to volunteer and maybe work with some of the women. And
I
would.
haven't asked Jody that yet.
And his-
I need to ask him after
Morning,
he gets
Dad.
settled on his job.
A good
Okay.
support group is important. Setting up the structure of a good support, somebody that you daily contact, have daily relationship with, no matter where you're at, they're there.
Yes.
And there are those even who may not necessarily understand what it's like to be an addict, but are
Right.
supportive of not being one because they
Well,
see them.
You know, there's different kinds of addicts. There's drug addicts. Then you have your alcoholics. You have your food addicts. People that just can't stop eating till they're very excessively overweight. And I feel really sorry for them because I think they need support groups just the same as anybody would.
I think you
on
need see
drugs.
what I've had to do is build a support group wherever I am, whenever I feel like I'm, because people get busy and you can't always depend on other people because they have to first depend on themselves and they all
Right.
have their own work to do. So that structure of your support group changes constantly. There's sort of it's malleable, it's not always this hard, rigid thing. And as you see changes coming or occurring, it's important to immediately say, okay, so how am I going to find the daily support? And you need to immediately start searching for it and find a dependable one.
Well-
And never feel like you're finished and you've set up a support group that's adequate. You need to always be prepared for the sudden changes that happen in people's lives and stuff,
Yeah.
or else, see, I wouldn't have succeeded for 7 years if I wasn't always ready to rebuild my support group immediately without waiting, making that a priority no matter what else was happening, and be prepared for it so that I know I'm around the right people who are going to be supportive of my sobriety and know that it's important, you know.
Something that's hard for me is my mom always wants me to have friends that haven't ever done drugs. Okay, I don't know where to find those people at because everybody
yeah.
I know is either an alcoholic or a drug addict,
Right.
mostly.
And when
All
you make
I've
eye
got-
contact with somebody and you think, "Hey, how are you doing?" It's usually because there's some connection that is familiar that
Right.
ends up being that thing, and I'm that same
Yeah.
way.
And see, I guess I just don't know where to go to make friends that's never been involved in drugs.
They don't have to be friends. They have to be supportive.
Yeah, one time you know how they always say, well, call somebody before you go out and do drugs or drink or whatever. Well, I called somebody from my church at the time, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I told him what was going on, and he said, well, just pray and go back to bed, and he hung up on me. I
Right.
thought, now, why do they want you to call somebody that's not going to say any more than that? So I've
That's
never
sometimes
called
what it
anybody since.
But with all that said, Denise doesn't recognize the support group that she's building, and sometimes it's
Oh,
hard to
yeah,
read.
I do.
It is,
Yeah, she's got a church that's going to back her, and she's got new friends that, that she's
Yeah,
creating
John, I already
within
mentioned
the
that.
recovery world, and she, we can sit back and we get to watch. Sometimes it's hard to look at ourselves and see, are we making progress? Are we doing what we're supposed to do? But we, as program directors, Scott and I can sit back and watch the amazing things that these ladies are doing, these women, and the confidence. I've seen such a confidence in Denise from where she came from, where she's at, and how she's getting settled and structured. She's excited about getting an apartment. She's working on that. That is going to be her next step. She's just taking her time, and she is actually our assistant manager now in our home.
Good deal.
She just took over that position yesterday. So she's very good about communication with me. She keeps in touch. We want our home. She knows she's been there. She knows what the girls are going through. She knows the structure of the house, how, we got girls that steal. And we're working through that. It's hard. We don't know who they are, but that's one thing we don't put up with. You're out the door if you're caught stealing. And what we do is we always say, if you need something, we dress it as a group. You need something, come to one of us. We will get you some food. We want to train them to not do those behaviors.
The thing that some of them don't think about is that any of us would give them anything that we've got. All they got to do is ask.
Yeah.
But see, they've never had the opportunity. They've always been taken advantage of, so they take advantage of everything else.
Yeah.
So, but
We've got some pretty good girls in our house.
Yes,
We
we
haven't
do.
had a lot of drama like I spent 9 months in New Beginnings 2 years ago, and there was lots of drama all the time. Women fighting between themselves, and it's not like that here.
that's exciting. Praise God.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm back and forth with people.
No,
This-
no. And, we're
Linda Lynn says good program.
And if anybody knows anybody, we're here. They can get a hold of anybody through Acts Ministry. If they
Yeah.
know somebody,
Acts Media Group.
Acts Media Group, yes. If you know anybody that is struggling with addiction, there's a lot of resources for Springfield. It doesn't have to be Clean Sweep Ministries. There's a lot of toll-free numbers. I get at least 2 to 3 calls a day. That's been the last month of just women that living in their cars that are addicted to heroin, just begging. They don't want to die, and it's just one of the hardest things. They're begging you. This drug has such a control on them that they literally know that they're going to die. And we have a girl that is coming in Monday, and it's tough on my end, because you, in that minute, in that space, they have to go detox. They have to get that clearance to make sure they're okay to come in. And in that process, for me, it's very emotional, because do I not know, are they going to OD that night? But she has pulled through. She got into detox yesterday. She's going to be there 3 days, and she just talking to her, and she was talking to her, and I said you're withdrawing right now, and she goes, you can tell by talking to me. I said, I've been doing this for 3 years, and you're hurting, aren't you? And she said, yeah, I'm in a lot of pain right now. And so it gave me the opportunity to pray over her. And I said, you're going to make it. She called me yesterday crying. She said, I did it. I got into detox. And once I get there, she was at the Marion Center. They get a detox clearance. We make sure that they're okay and stable. They go into detox. Then they keep in contact with me from detox. And then within 3 days, they come into our program.
Yep.
And
That's
it's
always
just
rough. That detox is some rough.
And
rough.
She's doing it on her own. You can imagine. She's right now. She was just doing it by herself in her car. She was homeless. She had a vehicle. Came from the Branson area. That's just one of many calls that I receive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not enough sober living houses out there for
Yes.
men or women.
Yeah.
Yes, believe
There's
it or not.
always way more demand than there are places.
Yeah, and so with there being such a high demand, there's a very, very high, there's a high level of requirements to get in,
Yes.
and wait lists and stuff like that. And a lot of
Yeah.
people, they're going between them. We've got, it's time for us to get out of here, but
Okay.
we got people that, if they don't do something now, they're going to change their mind
Right.
Yes.
like
yes.
shortly. So they
Yes.
need to get in there while they're thinking about it, while they've made the decision, because
Yeah.
as a former drug addict, I can tell you that the decision is up and down, up and down. Like you're sitting there feeling really terrible, but then whenever you start to feel a little bit better, you're like, oh, well, I guess I can do more.
Yeah.
So I'll be
It's the
okay.
knife's
I can
edge.
just, yeah, it
Only
is.
takes a second.
It is. So I apologize for being kind of distant through this show. I've been,
No.
this is a redesign that we've got
I
going on here.
noticed. I noticed.
So we're working stuff out as far as like how it looks and everything. So
We're
What a great
blessed.
place to be
yeah,
Yeah.
for you. It's so good to see that, because
Yes.
It's a
the
good
alternative
place.
is so horrible.
Yes.
It's a good place. My mom was getting real tired of me staying at her house and getting real messed up and then coming home. Or not coming home part of the time. She didn't like that, so she's glad that I'm here.
And
I was talking to a guy a week or so ago, and something that came out of his mouth that was so profound, and I think you just touched on it too. He spontaneously said, "My poor mother." The reality
family-
of how painful it can be.
My family's forgiven me and have started including me in on all the family get-togethers again, which they haven't included me for years and years.
seeing that's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
And I
That's
gotta
what it's
tell y'all, this song that I play all the time that really hits home is "The high cost of living is nothing like the cost of living high."
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thank you for having us, Matt. and Jay.
Yeah,
thank you guys for being here. We really do appreciate it. Jay, thanks for sitting beside me today.
It's good
Troy,
to be
thanks for
beside
being
you.
in the peanut gallery over there.
It's always I always prefer to see your mug,
Yeah, my mug.
as long as it's not the chipped one, because that one's mine.
Oh, yes.
Green Sweet Ministries.
Yes, my number is 417-830-8885. 8686.
I didn't know if you wanted me to put that up there or not.
That's fine.
So-
Yeah, and I probably should have shared that. Yeah, that's my personal number.
I don't put people's personal number up without them saying, "Hey, put that up there."
And
So
we are looking. Is Clean
830.
Sweep Ministries? Yes,
8686.
8686.
All right. So that being said, it's time for us to get out of here. We got a really good show. Another show after this, with the Morning Mount with Johnny Brewster and Pastor Matt, where we interview a gentleman named Jody, who is also sharing his story of recovery. So it's a day of recovery here on the network. So, anyways, and then followed by the happy hour with Dr. Paul and his wife Nancy. So until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt,
My name is Jay.
My name's Marcia.
My name is Denise.
and this has been the
Morning
Morning Drive.